What does the bombing of the Abbey of Monte Cassino in Italy in 1944 have to do with A Canticle for Leibowitz by Walter M. Jr., 1959? World War II, Italy, Monte Cassino, a town with an abbey up on the hill, an abbey of Benedictine monks. It was just southeast of Rome. The Allied forces in 1944 want to take the town from the Germans. Bombers are sent in. Fearing that Germans were using the abbey, which was established in 524 AD, the Allies bombed it. A radio man and tail gunner on one of the bombers? Walter M. Miller Jr. The war and this event impacted the rest of his life. It may not have been called PTSD at the time, but friends of Walter M. Miller Jr. said that he suffered from it. Upon returning from the war, he joined the Catholic Church, married and had a family, and began writing science fiction. In the 1950s, he wrote SF short stories, novellas, and one novel. A Canticle for Leibowitz won the Hugo and Nebula Awards. It's been in print constantly since 1959. It is considered to be one of the classics of science fiction. Walter M. Miller Jr. did not publish another novel in his lifetime. A Canticle for Leibowitz is a fix-up novel. It is made up of 3 previously published stories that were knitted together to form the novel. In a post-apocalyptic world in southwestern United States, there is an abbey of the Order of Leibowitz. Technology has been lost and the world has been depopulated. In the first story, Fiat Homo, or Let There Be Man, we meet Brother Francis. Brother Francis Gerard of Utah is on a vigil and meets a pilgrim, an old man dressed in a loincloth. This leads to the discovery of a cave with a fallout shelter in it. We follow Brother Francis as he discovers some remains which may help canonize one of the founders of the abbey, Brother Leibowitz. We slowly discover what has happened in the world and the mission of the Order of Leibowitz: to find and protect all written materials. In the downfall of society, those surviving had blamed the intelligent people of the world. They destroyed books, technology, and the leaders, both political and scientific. We follow Brother Francis's life in the abbey and eventually a trip to New Rome. Fiat Homo was the best story of the 3. World building with beautiful prose, a sympathetic protagonist in Brother Francis, and a plot that revealed more and more about society and the church. I would rate Fiat Homo by itself a 10 out of 10. The next story was Fiat Lux, Let There Be Light. This story opens hundreds of years later. We follow the story of Thon Taddeo, a scientist and inventor who is bringing technology back to the world. He seeks out the abbey to find the secrets within the books. The new abbot, Dom Paulo, ponders the changes that are happening in the world. We also have a scene again with a pilgrim who is wearing similar clothing to the pilgrim in scene 1. It is rumored that this pilgrim has been alive since the time of Christ. The second act moves slowly and primarily shows the tension that is building between the state, science, and the church. It reaches an unsatisfying conclusion. The conversation between Dom Paulo and the pilgrim was the best part of this story. I would give it a 6 out of 10. The third story is Fiat Voluntas Tao, or Thy Will Be Done. Once again, we have a huge time jump. Technology has returned. We see the cycle of society, but once again, nuclear threats have arisen. Politics and nation states are threatening war. This time, the church is looking to protect history and people by sending them in spaceships to other planets. But this story focuses on Earth. Dom Zurchi is now the abbot of the Abbey of Leibowitz. An atomic bomb is dropped. Survivors come pouring by the abbey. A doctor wants to set up an aid station and provide euthanasia to those who are going to die miserably. Dom Zurchi will have none of it. Life is precious. It is not something that we can take. This last third of A Canticle for Leibowitz is about life, suffering, and death, and the hope of preserving history and people through colonization in space. This becomes a struggle of philosophy and faith. It becomes particularly poignant when you know the rest of Walter M. Miller Jr.'s story. Battling PTSD, the death of his wife, Walter M. Miller Jr. took his life at the age of 72. I would give this third story an 8 out of 10. A Canticle for Leibowitz is not an easy read. In my opinion, it is a worthwhile read. So overall, for A Canticle for Leibowitz, I give it an 8 out of 10. In my next video, I will review Conditionally Human, 3 Novellas by Walter M. Miller Jr., 1962, and The View from the Stars, 9 Stories by Walter M. Miller Jr., 1964. So what did you think of A Canticle for Leibowitz? Do you find that Walter M. Miller Jr.'s story deepens your understanding of the novel and its themes? Do you have difficulty with a novel that deals with faith and science? Are there other stories of faith and science that you enjoy? Let me know in the comments below. Keep reading.